Recording.
Well, this is the 50,000 mile review on my 2020 Rocket 3. I've had this bike for about 4 years. I bought it slightly used in 2022. It only had 740 miles on it, so I put about 99% of the miles on it. Yeah, it's sitting right at 50,000 miles as I'm recording this video. Man, if you're looking for a pretty comfortable, sportier cruiser, I mean, it's not as sporty as a Ducati Diavel, as I've heard. I've never ridden a Diavel, but I hear that they handle a little bit better than these. But this bike is not your average Harley bagger style cruiser. It's got, I'm sure everybody knows the specs on these, the almost 2500cc engine. It's got a decent amount of power and torque. The only thing I've done to this bike is an ECU flash. I did a review. I've had the ECU flash twice, one by Bren Tuning and the other by More Mafia, but I did a comparison review on that, so you can watch that in one of my other videos. But yeah, 50,000 miles on this bike. This thing's done everything from long touring trips to lots of mountain blasts in other states. I live in Central Texas, but I've taken this to Colorado, South Dakota, I've ridden the Ozarks, and I get pretty spirited on this thing up in the mountains and the hills. I ride a lot here in the hill country in Texas. I'm actually currently on Lime Creek Road here in Cedar Park. Yeah, it's a big cruiser, pretty good sized back tire, but this thing still handles. Actually, I'll keep it a little easy on this road because there are a lot of cops that like to hang out here. But if anybody's familiar with Lime Creek, it is a pretty technical road. But I'll actually show you that this big low-slung cruiser can handle. So I'll get a little spirited here. We got some traffic up ahead, so can't get too crazy. But yeah, this bike has been fantastic. 50,000 miles. The only issues that I have had with this bike, there have been 3. I actually had to have the battery replaced a year ago. I'm actually going to try to get a little bit spirited here now that I got around that traffic. Tighter, more technical stuff. I mean, you are limited by lean angle, but as you can see, the bike will still do it. I'm not pushing it super hard, but it'll still do it. And those of you that are familiar with this road know that some of these turns are pretty tight. Just have to, you know, take the turns a little slower than you would on a sports bike. I also have a Speed Triple 1200 RS that I can definitely get more aggressive on this road with that bike, but I got another bike that looks like an M109. Another great bike. I used to have one of those. But yeah, so a battery, the key fob. The key fob has given me issues since day one of ownership. I personally hate key fobs on motorcycles and cars. My wife has a Nissan Rogue SUV, and the key fob on that thing has always given us issues. I just hate key fobs. So key fob has always been an issue. And the third issue that I had, which really wasn't an issue per se, because it was really my fault. One day I was on a ride with this thing. It was actually about a week ago. I was on a pretty spirited ride up in the hills, and finished riding up in the hills and went to merge on the highway to go home. And I noticed at about 5,000 RPM, this thing started bucking and jerking a little bit. Yeah, it was acting like it was kind of running out of fuel. Man, I looked down, I had plenty of fuel. So I was thinking, I was like, man, I wonder if like one of the wires on the ignition coils came loose, because those wires, for those of you that have done your own maintenance or had your tanks off, those wires on those coils, they don't clip on there very tight from the factory. But then I thought about it, I was like, no, that can't be it, because it'd be running like crap all the time, and it was only doing it like around 5,000 RPM. So then I started thinking, I bet you that fuel filter's clogged, because I was supposed to change the fuel filter about 10,000 miles ago, and I just got lazy. So went home, pulled the tank off, pulled the old fuel filter out, and tried to blow through it, and sure enough, it was stopped up and a bunch of black gunk came out of it. So I was like, ah, crap. So I put the new fuel filter in, put it all back together, and it's been good as new ever since. So yeah, those are the only issues I've had with this bike. Fuel filter, a battery, and the stupid key fob. But other than that, this thing has been rock solid. Not a single issue in terms of, or aside from those that I explained. But this bike gets run hard. I do the maintenance myself. Oil changes, spark plug changes, shaft oil changes, things like that. The basic maintenance, air filter and fuel filter. I personally do not get into valve jobs on any of these bikes. It's a little bit above my scope of expertise, but I will admit I have never had the valves checked or done on this bike, which is not a good thing. I'm definitely going to bite the bullet and spend the money to do it, because it needs it, I would imagine. Service intervals on these call for 20,000 miles, and this thing has 50,000. I've never had it done, but I will say, even though it's never been done, never had any noticeable issues. The valves will chatter a bit on startup, on second startup. So when I first start the bike up, whether it's been sitting overnight or sitting at work all day, when I first start the bike up, no problems. Valves are nice and quiet, everything's fine. Now when I run it for a little bit and I stop, like to get gas or something, then I restart it, the valves will get pretty loud on restart, just for a few seconds, then they'll quiet back down. But it definitely needs to get the valves checked and done. It's expensive, so that's really the only reason I haven't done it, is because I just haven't wanted to shell out the money to do it, but I really need to, and I will. So yeah, 50,000 miles, and I've taken this thing on track. Took it to Harris Hill Raceway. For those of you that are familiar with that track, it's a very technical